Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yay.
I'm from
Shabbat shalom.
Cleveland, and the weather here is it's amazing. Tomorrow we're gonna have a heat wave, so the temperature are gonna touch the 100 and a little bit. And
Wow.
yeah, at the desert we expecting to even 110, and some places 115. That's gonna be a
Wow.
crazy the heat wave. Okay.
But here we're getting a heat wave almost to 90, but storms.
Ah, yeah. And then right after that, you guys have a rain.
Right.
We got nothing.
Right.
The only things that we have from our neighbors, it's either a sandstorm or either rockets or either a heat wave that come from the desert.
Yeah.
We have a lovely neighbors. What can I say?
Our, our our rockets are golf ball sized hail.
Yeah. Well, my friend, the parasha in Hebrew it's called amor, tell, tell them, and God told to Moses to tell to the priest, to Aaron, how like how everything's supposed to be on the right way at the altars, and how they supposed to behave, and even more than that, what kind of rules about if someone died, to get married. Uh, so there is a certain woman, then a priest not allowed to get married because he was supposed to show how it could be a perfect and also to be example for the community.
Right.
And I was wondering, and I wanted to hear your opinion about it. Why defect people? If someone have a defect, which today we not even say the word defect. We said, we're using other words like disable, all kind of words like PC word. But
Right.
to say to someone he have a defect, it's like very funny. But why disable people or defect people not allowed to come to the temple? Why? How come God um, like discriminate them from healthy people? Why they need to get a? But it's not enough to getting a punished by the being disabled. Now you're not allowed to come to a place of God. That's things. Then I was wondering, and I really interesting to hear what you had to say about it. How it's getting you that.
But but if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. Um, they're also commanded to take care of those people. So even though they could not serve in that capacity in the temple, they were commanded to be taken care of.
That's a good thing. Thanks. Then God didn't say then we should have thrown him from some high cliff, really. But why to separate them? To say no, you kind of a person, then you have a defect. You're not even allowed to be a priest. You're not allowed to come to my
Right.
place. Even if you midget, if you're a short man, you're also not allowed.
Right.
Isn't it? It's like,
And, and the same principle was for the animals that were to be sacrificed. That's why the priest had to inspect them. They couldn't have a defect. They couldn't have this. They couldn't have that. They had to be this high standard in order to be used.
yeah. But what is your opinion about it? Why God asking that things? Why He want the perfect people to be in a sanctuary? Why it's so important for Him to see a perfect? Like should it be no defect, no any kind of stain in your record? You have to be really
Right.
perfect.
Um, okay. Hold on a second. The office is calling me to the front. Can we
Okay.
stop and come
I'm
back?
gonna, yeah, I'm gonna hold it. Yes.
All right, hold on.
Well, um, and as I said, I really like to hear your opinion about it. Why God want only perfect? It sounds like he want only perfect in his sanctuary. Why is like that?
Right. The only thing I can really think of is uh, anything that goes to
Yeah,
inside the courtyard and the temple, whatever, it um, had to be whole,
yeah.
without defect, without spot, stain, whatever you want to call it. Um, so I guess if he's has that specific rule for any of the sacrifices, then that specific rule also applies to the ones offering the sacrifices. And if you had somebody that had a defect offering a sacrifice for somebody, the sacrifice itself had to be without defect. So logically, you would think that the person offering the sacrifice for the person or the nations also had to be without defect.
I want to give another point. Okay, I know that it's gonna sound weird, but I like weird things.
Okay.
We, um, from the first creations to the fourth day of the creations, God create only things then it's in last forever. From the fifth day to the sixth, he create whatever it's mortal. And there is a differences between immortal and mortal.
Right.
Okay? So immortal it thinks then endure forever. That's it. There is no death over there. That it's not ruling that place. But a mortal people, that ruling our life.
Mhm.
Two
Right.
different things. When you're coming to a place of God, which is eternal life or immortals, you have to be a perfect like the angels, wearing a white, fasting, they're not eating, okay? They don't have things that we have here. So mostly God wants from us to see the differences, the very sharp difference between death and life and eternal life, which is even more than that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So think about it, then you coming to visit another planet, and you're coming from a planet, and there is no such a things like that called death. But people look like you, and you're coming to visit him, and they're going to tell you, "Oh, I lost my brother, I lost my mom, I lost dad, I lost that," and you go like, "I'm sorry, I'm not part of that. I'm living a eternal life." So you don't want to mix that pure eternal life with that which is end. So that's why he asking us to come and to be a perfect. And what I'm saying, it's a best based on what I wrote on the book of Jubilee. The book of Jubilee, it's the same Bible that we know, the same Torah that we know, but it's a little bit different. We have to take it very seriously because it's a book that wrote by people 2200 years ago, and it's a original handwriting. And that book coming to tell us a story about 1,000 years before they wrote that book, which means we're talking about like 33,600 years. So think about it. If your grandmother gonna tell you a story that happened when she was a child, so she still brings some testimony from what she remember. But if you're gonna know about some story before your grandma was born, it's a little bit different. And here we have a testimony of people that wrote that book, and there is no close a book then I could compare to those books in a Dead Sea Scroll. And that's why I have a very so much appreciation for those treasure that we find in the desert, then giving us or open us some kind of a light of what happened in that time. But originally, not someone then tell to someone to tell this to
I'm
someone.
getting I'm getting a phone call. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what do you think about my opinion about it?
And that it's really hard to conceive that when you look at like Dead Sea Scrolls and everything, that you're actually getting the perspective of the time it happened. Like you said, it's one thing when your grandma is telling you something, but your grandma's telling you something from 5 generations ago. But when you have something that was written at the time of 5 generations ago,
Something.
it's mind blowing.
Yeah. What
Or
about
and
if you think about it? If Jesus was writing every day some words in his journal, in his handwriting, and
right,
finally we're gonna find that the journal of Jesus, and then
right,
we're gonna see a little bit, and even more different story. What we're gonna, how we're gonna behave? I guess the church, and I'm talking about the main church, were trying to push it in aside. And that's what exactly what the Orthodox people doing, like, ah, yeah, yeah, we're not following after that. We have a tradition, other traditions.
yeah, and
I'm not saying to change everything, but give me the opinion about it. That's like really interesting.
and you have the other side too, the Gentile side that says, "Oh, we don't need that anymore. That was way back then." You know,
Yeah,
it,
but I agree with you. There is so many other things than we're not doing today. But you know what I think is beautiful about us? Verse the Gentile then said we don't need it anymore. We leave it as it was. We're just giving a different interpretation. We're not, as a respect for God, we're not changing his word. We're not saying, oh, he changed his opinion. We just
right,
said, yes, but it's not fit in our time anymore. To kill
and
some woman, then she like had a sex before her marriage and stoned her. Well, what can I say? I don't want I don't want to do that to anyone. Got it?
there wouldn't be very many people on this earth.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that God changed his mind. I said, listen, I cannot take it, but I still respect his decisions, which made 3,600 years ago, while the people over there was living in a totally different environment.
Right, right,
So,
right.
a handwriting in those days was so expensive. Only few people knew how to write, and it took
Yes.
time. Now to come and to delete something, it's a curse.
Yes.
There we have so much, you
Because
know.
it took a long time
Long
to get
time. Think about it.
animal the animal skin ready to be used to be written
And
on.
letters by letters, easily. And okay, you want to make a copy? It's gonna take so much. And only one congregation have one book for the whole congregation. Think about it.
Right.
Today, by
Right.
WhatsApp, you could send to thousands of people anything that you want. So, a written word back in those days was worth like I don't know, like a golden or gold or something like that. So, you not like hurry uh, up to delete things than someone wrote, and just for the respect you leave it, but you bringing maybe a little bit different opinion about what he said, but you're not deleting that.
Right. Right.
And I think it's beautiful to leave it like that, but to say, okay, we're not accepting that anymore.
But you still but you still apply the principles, but not necessarily the harsh judgments. For instance, we'll still apply the principles that don't engage in sexual immorality, but if someone does, you're not going to take them outside the city and stone them.
Yeah, no, no, we're not doing. But there is a lot of rules. Then we keep doing that until today, like not to steal, not to murder, adultery. Okay,
Right,
maybe most of the people, but there is a some. All kind of things like that. Then we are taking that law, the Samaritan law. Okay, the Good Samaritan law. We're doing that. If you
right,
see that, and as you as a cop, you know that if a citizen seeing a accident, okay, maybe he cannot help by giving a medical treatment, but he could do a telephone,
right.
and to call to the emergency, and he have to do that by the law. It's amazing things, and we took it of something that happened 2,000 years ago, based on the Good Samaritan law of Jesus. Then he told the story. Um, so I think it's like okay to say, okay, that I'm taking, that I'm not, and keep going. While to say, oh, I have a news, God changed his mind. No, he always loved Jesus. He
No,
always loved Yeshua, and I don't think since Yeshua, something really big change. We always changing. Yeah, the name of our God is Eheye. What does it mean Eheye? It will be. It's
yeah,
something that always make his form. It's always changing. Our God have no name like sounds like the past. It's the future. Eheye in Hebrew. That's what he answered to Moses when Moses asked him, "But they're gonna ask me, what's your name? What should I say?"
yeah,
And I was wondering, listen, God giving you a huge mission to take the people from slavery to the promised land. And the first questions then you ask him, they want to know your name. What about how I'm going to feed them in the desert? How I'm going to do that with Pharaoh? How I'm going to talk with them? How they're going to be with me? That's it. That's the most important things to ask. What is your name? I tell you what. Probably because if you don't have identified, or don't have identity,
right.
not be connecting to that. And if you're not connecting to that, I'm sorry, it's gonna be hard.
Which is true.
Yeah,
It's all in a name, and that's
yeah,
why
it's
when
all in the
people
name. Yeah,
When people have a product,
yeah.
you have to give it the right name so people will want it. And that's God told Moses, this is my name so that people will want him.
Which a football team you like?
Pro or college?
Oh, okay. If it's gonna be someone maybe nice football players, you're gonna give all of your heart to them, or to your team or to your football team, then losing time after time,
Yeah, right.
right? You're
Right.
gonna be with them, even they're gonna disappoint you time after time. Still, your heart is gonna be belong to
That
them.
is true.
Yeah. Well, my friend, I'm sure then we could discuss about the parasha even more, but we have to end it because Shabbat coming and you have a missions to do. So again, once again, it's always wonderful to talk with you and to discuss with you about the parasha.
Yes.
I really
Yes.
appreciate it, Steve. And who knows? I hope to see you in Tennessee one day before you
I
come
hope
to
so.
Israel.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, my friend.
All right. Try and stay cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, last night uh, we got a message. Laura got a message in her telephone. It said a missile make the way from Yemen to here. 2 minutes later, we heard the siren, like preparing us. Nice. Yeah. And we was here in the balcony, like watching the sky. Maybe we're gonna hear or seeing something, but no.
Well,
Yeah,
good. I'm glad it didn't.
yeah. Well, my friend, Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat shalom.
and see you in the
Until
next
next time.
parasha. Bye bye.
Bye bye.